The leaves are starting to fall and city crews want to pick them up and get them out of the gutter. We'll explain everything you need to know about city pickup.
And Madison Police Chief Mike Koval is retiring. We'll tell you what's next for the department as it looks for a new leader. Straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good Monday morning, folks. It is September 30th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Hattie McLean here now with a dreary Monday forecast. It is kind of spooky. Last day of September, not quite October.
No.
But it looks very
But it's
creepy.
very foggy outside this morning. But be aware it's going to be a mild day as well. Once this fog lifts, we're looking at summer-like conditions this afternoon. So here's a look at your first alert weather forecast. We have a dense fog advisory in effect this morning. This is our view from the WISC-TV Skycam. Not able to see anything this morning. That dense fog advisory in effect for south central and southeastern Wisconsin until 11 o'clock. Visibility is less than a mile in many spots this morning, so be aware of that. The fog is pretty widespread and is expected to last for at least another couple of hours. Here's a look at the radar map as well. We've been watching a few showers pop up just west of Madison. 1 or 2 lone lightning strikes showing up as well. These showers are in response to some warm air that is moving in today, and they'll lift to the north and east rather quickly. So your temperatures over the next 12 hours, thanks to a strong southerly wind and even some sunshine this afternoon, will reach the low 80s later on today. Now let's get a look at those first alert traffic maps. No rain here in Madison, but everything is still damp. Lots of moisture in the atmosphere and that fog, so be aware. Add a few extra minutes to get to your destination this morning. Elsewhere across southern Wisconsin, there was an accident involving a deer up in parts of Dodge County, but it looks like that has been cleared. So good news there. No other major incidents to report.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. To our top headline this morning. As of today, Chief Mike Koval is no longer leading the Madison Police Department.
He made the announcement yesterday in his blog. He didn't give a specific reason for his retirement, but, quote, wrote that despite the trials, he, quote, would not trade the experience for anything. Koval was chief for 5 years and joined the department in 1983. Doug Moe, a writer who profiled Koval in 2017, says Koval's legacy will likely include controversies, including public clashes with city council and public opinion of how the department has navigated racial tensions, but also the chief's love for his job.
The passion he brought to it. I don't think even his biggest detractors would say he phoned it in.
Now, Assistant Chief Vic Wall will serve as interim police chief until the Police and Fire Commission choose a replacement.
Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway is responding to Koval's announcement, thanking him for his dedication and service. She'll be working with the Police and Fire Commission, urging them to, quote, conduct a process in which the members of the department and members of the community have significant input into Madison's next police chief. The Police and Fire Commission is also thanking Chief Koval for a successful concluding chapter to his long and distinguished professional career.
6:03 right now. While the rest of Congress is on a 2-week recess, the House Intelligence Committee is expected to call on witnesses to testify this week in the ongoing impeachment inquiry. Tweeting throughout the day Sunday, President Trump says he deserves to meet the accuser and warned of major consequences. The president's advisors and Republican allies attacked the whistleblower on Sunday.
I can't believe we're talking about impeaching the president based on an accusation based on hearsay.
Democrats argue there is serious evidence of wrongdoing.
Caught red-handed trying to solicit foreign interference in the 2020 election.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff says the committee has an agreement for the whistleblower to testify and remain anonymous. The whistleblower's attorney says no such agreement has been made.
We are following breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center from overseas this morning. A U.S. military airstrip is damaged after a suicide bomber exploded a car at the gate overnight. Officials say gunfire was also heard, suggesting an ongoing attack there. The U.S. military uses that airstrip as a base in Somalia, where it launches drones against extremist rebels in that area. The extremist group Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility. More breaking news locally overnight. Madison police are investigating after getting multiple calls for shots fired near Leopold Elementary School. Officers found more than 10 casings in the road from different caliber guns. An empty car on the street was hit multiple times, but no one was injured. Neighbors say they saw a dark-colored sedan leaving the scene. Anyone who saw something should call Madison police or the Madison area Crime Stoppers.
3 people are injured after being shot in Fitchburg. This happened just before noon Sunday near High Ridge Trail off of Fish Hatchery Road. Officers initially found 2 people with gunshot wounds. One of those people had life-threatening injuries. Then later, police found a 3rd person with a gunshot wound at the hospital. Police are still investigating, but say the people knew each other and that this was not a random shooting. Right now, police are still looking for the person who killed a teen on Madison's north side. The Dane County Medical Examiner says 19-year-old Malik Moss was shot around 6 Saturday night on Northport Drive. That's just a few blocks from Lindbergh Elementary School. Officials say that Moss died from the gunshot wound. Madison police are still investigating.
In the township of Leeds, Columbia County deputies say the death of a man shot in his basement is a homicide. Police say Keith Wolf's wife called 911, saying her husband was checking the basement after they heard a noise there. That's when he was shot. A police canine unit didn't find anyone else in the area. Officers are asking neighbors there to be vigilant.
New this morning, 1 person is injured after a 1-car crash last night. At around 9 o'clock, Madison Police and Fire closed a portion of Hammersley Road in Madison between Ray Lane and Whitney Way. 1 person was taken to the hospital after that crash. Hammersley Road was reopened a couple of hours later, around 11:15. No word yet on the extent of the person's injuries.
In Fitchburg, a driver is in critical condition after a 2-car crash on McCoy Road at Cyan Road near the Capital City Trail. It happened just before 5 last night. Fitchburg police say they think a driver drifted over the center line and hit an oncoming car. Both drivers had to be taken to the hospital. One was released with minor injuries. The driver of the car that drifted is the one in critical condition. The road had to be closed down for around 4 hours. All right, 6:07 your time now. The leaves may have barely started to fall this year, but we know that won't last long.
Madison's fall leaf collection officially starts today, and our Keely Arthur is live with what you need to know. Good morning, Keely.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. Yes, the leaves are starting to fall. We're entering October, as you two said. It's starting to get a little spooky out here, and city crews know that very well, and they're starting their leaf pickup today. They want to avoid scenes like the one you see right here. These leaves going into the gutter, which then can go into our lake water and create things like we don't want, like blue-green algae blooms, murky water, and even weeds in our lakes. Now, if you are taking advantage of curbside pickup, there are a few things to follow. You'll want to make sure your leaves and yard waste, including things like garden trimmings, pumpkins, and crab apples, are piled at the street. If you are bagging your leaves, be sure to leave bags open at the top so crews can see what's inside. You can use plastic bags, but they'll probably be left at your property following pickup. You can also use compostable paper leaf bags or a tarp to protect your leaves from blowing away. Crews will complete at least 3 rounds of pickup in the fall and then 2 rounds in the spring, all weather dependent. You can also take your yard waste to a drop-off site, and we have a list of those city drop-off sites on our app and website. Also, consider keeping the leaves, grinding them up, using them as compost or mulch. While these nutrients can be really detrimental to our lake water, they can actually help your lawn and soil. So plenty of options for you. Back to you two.
All right, Keely Arthur live for us this morning. Keely, thank you.
We have a first alert traffic note to pass along this morning as we head into the last month of construction season. The second phase of a resurfacing project on Highway M between Verona and Oregon gets started today. That means M is closing down between County Highway PB and Fish Hatchery Road. That closure is expected to last until October 18th.
If you're a frequent flyer and looking to apply for TSA pre-check, there will be a temporary enrollment center at the Southern Wisconsin Regional Airport today through Friday. TSA pre-check is an expedited screening program that lets eligible travelers keep their shoes, light outerwear, and belts on in designated airport screening lanes. Those travelers can also keep their laptops and cases and TSA-compliant liquid and gel baggies in their carry-ons. The application fee is $85 for a 5-year membership.
World War II soldier and area native John Bainbridge is at rest at home after 77 years this morning. His remains were identified because of the DNA of living relatives. His niece, Nancy Cunningham, says she nearly fainted when she found out he was coming home. Bainbridge received full military honors at a service yesterday and was buried next to his sister in Rose Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Monona. A UW-Madison volunteer researcher was there and says he hopes Bainbridge isn't the only World War II soldier to come home after decades.
It's kind of an honor to dig into it and find some of these guys that that are really just unknowns, and their just remains are there and nobody ever knows about them.
That researcher, Michael O'Shea, has a list of World War II soldiers from Wisconsin that his team is trying to identify and bring home. What an emotional homecoming for that family.
Wow, incredible story there. All right, 10 minutes past 6 o'clock right now, and still ahead for us. If anyone knows how important sleep is, it is our morning team here at News 3 Now. Up next, we're going to take a look at a new way to make sure your teen is getting enough sleep.
But first, you're going to want to take it slow out there this morning. A pretty foggy start to your work week. Not a lot to see out there before the chance for storms later on. Hattie's extended forecast is next on News 3 Now this morning.
This
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. The air is thick this morning. It feels like mid-July, not the very end of September. We have fog in the area and high humidity to talk about this afternoon. Let's get you up to date, though, with that dense fog advisory that has been issued for south central and southeastern Wisconsin, as well as parts of northern Illinois. Fog is pretty widespread this morning, and the advisory is in effect until 11. Here's a look at current visibilities. Less than a mile from Madison all the way down to the state line. We've had quarter-mile visibility for the last couple of hours at least in Monroe and Janesville. So plan some extra time to get to your destination. Watch out for the kids as they are heading to school this morning. We also have alert days in the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday. We're talking several rounds of rain over those 2 days, adding up to anywhere from 1 to maybe up to 4 inches of rain for southern Wisconsin. So again, there could be some issues with flooding as the ground is pretty wet and the soil is saturated right now. Your GFS future track precipitation potential from today through Thursday morning is indicating a pretty wide band of heavy rain setting up somewhere across southern and central Wisconsin. Now, the exact placement of this band still may shift a little bit further to the south over the coming days, but you get the idea. Some pretty heavy rain for parts of the Badger State. Now, a look at what's happening this morning on the radar map. We've had some light showers develop just west of Madison this morning. Most of the activity, though, is to the north. Those showers are in response to some warm air that continues to move up from the south. So they'll lift to the northeast pretty quickly today. The risk for rain really confined to just the morning hours. There is quite a contrast in temperatures this morning. We have 51 in Superior this morning, 65 here in Madison, 70s for southern Minnesota and much of Iowa. Dew points are close to 70 as well. Dew points have risen a couple of degrees here in Madison, and they'll go up from there. We're talking dew points near 70 this afternoon, so feeling very muggy. Your future track forecast model, again, not too excited about that rain chance this morning. You may see a few sprinkles here and there, especially north and east of Madison, but heading into the afternoon, we're looking at a clearing trend. Partly sunny skies with highs in the low 80s. South winds will be rather strong this afternoon as well. It'll stay dry through the evening hours. Our rain chances start to ramp up after midnight tonight, and then through the day on Tuesday, expect a pretty wet day. Rounds of showers and thunderstorms moving through. Some of those could contain heavy rain. That activity continues right into at least Wednesday morning. Your extended forecast calls for a real downtrend in the temperatures this week as well. Feeling like summer today with highs in the low 80s. You'll definitely want your jackets though by the end of the week. Highs are back in the 50s on Thursday and Friday. Now let's get a look at those traffic maps this morning. We'll send it over to Jason Stone for all the details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. A dense fog advisory is in effect. Please slow down and leave plenty of distance ahead of you. No issues on the Beltline with only modest lining up on the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. Brake lights are popping up on Verona Road between the Beltline and Highway PD. All other routes into Madison and around Dane County are mostly clear. And commuters are able to make their way downtown and navigate through the Capitol Square and Isthmus without any problems. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thank you very much, Jason, and thank you, Hattie. 6:17 now. Researchers at Stanford are trying to figure out new ways to help make sure your teen is getting more sleep.
They found that light therapy and behavioral therapy combined were more successful in improving teenagers' sleep than either of the treatments by themselves. The therapy includes flashes of light to help reset the teen's circadian clocks, and it also helped the teenagers get 43 more minutes of sleep per night. People who don't get enough sleep could be responsible for up to 6,000 fatal crashes in the U.S. each year. A survey of truck drivers found that nearly 10% suffer from obstructive sleep apnea. Researchers in Italy also found that 21% complained of sleepiness during the day.
There is new research out there this morning that's strengthening the connection between your social life and your health. A new study shows women who don't talk openly with their romantic partners could increase their risk of heart disease. Researchers say women who said they self-silenced had more plaque in their arteries compared to women who spoke up. The numbers suggest there is chronic stress related to ignoring your personal needs, and that could have physical consequences.
The FDA is recalling dog food this morning over salmonella concerns. The agency is warning pet owners to stay away from Performance Dog brand frozen raw pet food produced on or after July 22nd of this year. It says samples tested positive for salmonella and listeria. Dog food came under scrutiny by the FDA this year for concerns about heart disease.
This is a scary story. A Menasha man is getting vaccine treatments after he was exposed to a rabid bat. The man's 2 dogs were also exposed. They're both under quarantine this morning. Local health officials say this is the first case of rabies in many years. More than 59,000 people worldwide die from rabies every year. Officials say if your dog makes contact with a bat, you should call your local health department right away.
Ooh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yes, ooh, pretty appropriate for Halloween season, I guess, to be talking about
not
this.
Good, very scary. All right, well, the Brewers are resting up today to prepare for their second playoff appearance in as many years. They'll have to snap a losing streak in order to move on. We'll have a preview of the win or go-home game next.
And if you take a look outside, you're not going to see much this morning. Hattie's got a foggy bus stop forecast coming up on News 3 Now this morning. Welcome back on your Monday morning. Not a lot to look at outside, that is for sure.
Oh, what a bummer. Our sky camera shots are pretty useless this morning, because
this is a shot.
Can't see anything outside. It is pretty foggy, so be aware of that. Make sure the headlights are on this morning as you head out the door. Dense fog advisory in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. Most areas included. The exception would be far southwestern Wisconsin, but the rest of us dealing with some pretty widespread dense fog. Here's a look at visibility. It is just 3/4 of a mile here in Madison. Juneau is at a 1/4 mile visibility. Some improvement in Monroe, but just a little, from a 1/4 mile up to a 1/2 mile visibility. Still pretty foggy in Mineral Point, though, and Janesville. So plan a little extra time to get to your destination this morning. We have a few showers popping up on the radar map west of Madison. They're lifting to the northeast as warm air moves into the region. So this activity pretty limited this morning. It'll move out pretty fast as well. The afternoon looks dry. But as you head to the bus stop, fog is going to be the main issue this morning. So watch out for those kids. Temperatures will be in the 60s. I don't think you need a jacket today. Look at this high temperature. Normally we would be hitting highs in the 60s. Today we're well above that at 81 degrees with partly sunny skies this afternoon. In addition, it is going to be quite humid. Now, through the week, things are going to change. You're definitely going to want the jacket by the end of the week, though. Look at these high temperatures back into the 50s on Thursday and Friday. Looks quite wet, though, on Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, Hattie, thank you very much. We're getting back into jacket season, and we're heading into our final week of Coats for Kids Drive. We're up to 2,268 items donated so far. A shout out goes to the Superhero Club at Madison Memorial High School. They've dropped off their first load of coats, contributing 65 to that total.
All right, maybe you or your kids are involved in a school or church group and you want to help out too, or you just want to donate things out of your own closet. But time is running out. You can donate those coats or other winter weather gear at any Clinky Cleaners location through Saturday.
All right, just about 6:25 right now. The Brewers get today off before heading to the nation's capital for the National League wild card game tomorrow night.
The Brewers had a chance to force a tiebreaker game for the title division yesterday, but the Cardinals win over the Cubs and the Brewers' loss in Colorado meant they had to settle for the wild card. That means it will be win or go home for the Crew, who are making the playoffs for the second year in a row. They haven't done that, by the way, since 1982, which is also the last time they went to the World Series. So here's hoping. First pitch in Washington is just after 7 on TBS.
The Badgers aren't moving in this week's Associated Press poll, staying at number 8. The team's offense didn't have its best game against Northwestern, but the defense definitely did. The guys on that side of the ball know that they've got to step up in these types of games.
You're not going to go through the entire season, up by 14 on everybody. Whenever you step on the field, you're not going to be up all the time. Adversity is going to strike. This was a great game to test how we respond to adversity. I'm just proud of how we performed. We kept swinging and was able to land some haymakers.
We got guys at every position ready to step up and make big plays for us week after week. We want to be a scoring, aggressive defense that forces turnovers, and then we'll capitalize off those turnovers. That's for sure.
4-0, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good season so far.
All right, still ahead, we have the top 3 things you need to know on your Monday morning as you head out the door.
And we're taking a look at what you need to know about fall leaf collection. That's next on News 3 Now this morning. Stick around.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Monday, September 30th. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Hattie McLean tracking some fog this morning. We'll get to her forecast update in just a moment. But first, let's get to the top 3 things you need to note this morning. As of today, Chief Mike Koval is no longer leading the Madison Police Department. The announcement came yesterday on his blog. He didn't give a specific reason for his retirement, but wrote that despite the trials, he, quote, would not trade the experience for anything. Assistant Chief Vic Wall will serve as the interim police chief until the Police and Fire Commission choose a replacement.
The second story we're following this morning, the impeachment inquiry against President Trump is expected to pick up steam this week. Several current and former State Department officials are expected to testify before Congress, along with the whistleblower who started the whole process. A new CBS News poll shows the majority of Americans approve of the inquiry, though they're divided over whether the president should be impeached.
And finally this morning, winter came early in the northern Rocky Mountains. A snowstorm dumped a record amount of snow over the weekend, knocking out power and causing hazardous travel conditions there. Montana's governor declared a winter storm emergency. The storm also hit parts of Idaho and Washington. I can't get over that video.
Well, you just start to shiver looking at it. Hattie, fortunately, has a much quieter Monday in store for southern Wisconsin. Right, Hads?
Yes, I do. We're on the warm side of that system, so fog and humidity are in our forecast today. Take a live look from the traffic camera at the Beltline in Park Street. You can definitely notice the fog in that shot this morning. A dense fog advisory is in effect until 11 o'clock this morning for south central and southeastern Wisconsin, as well as portions of northern Illinois. Pretty hard to escape the fog this morning. Visibility is less than a mile in many spots, so that fog is widespread. Take a little extra time to get to your destination this morning. Also been keeping my eye on a few light showers that have developed just over the last couple of hours here in southern Wisconsin. Warm air continues to move into the region, and these showers are in response to that. They will lift northeast pretty quickly this morning, so nothing major expected early today, maybe just a few raindrops. The afternoon, though, looks dry. Actually, we'll see some sunshine once the fog lifts, and it's going to be quite warm and humid today with highs in the lower 80s. Let's take a look at those first alert traffic maps. Again, just a few isolated showers in the area, but roads are damp. Everything is wet across southern Wisconsin with the fog in place and all that moisture. No major delays on the Beltline right now, but Verona Road is slowing down as you go from PD up towards the Beltline. You're down to about 36 miles an hour, adding a couple of extra minutes through that stretch of the road. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. So at least we don't have the snow blowers out yet, but as the seasons change, it is time to break out the rakes for any falling leaves.
And city crews are ready to help you out. Keely Arthur has more on the start of Madison's fall leaf collection this morning. Hi, Keely.
Hi, Josh and Leah. Well, the leaves have barely started to come down, but we know that is going to change, and city officials do too. They are starting their leaf pickup today, this morning, and they want to avoid scenes like this one here. Leaves going into city gutters, which then drain into our lakes and create things like those pesky, toxic algae blooms, murky water, even weeds in our lake. Now, if you are taking advantage of curbside pickup, a few things to follow. You'll want to make sure your leaves and yard waste, including things like garden trimmings, pumpkins, and crab apples, are piled at the street. If you are bagging your leaves, be sure to leave bags open so city crews can check and make sure what's inside. You can use plastic bags, but those will likely be left behind after pickup. You can also use compostable paper leaf bags or a tarp to protect leaves from blowing away. Crews will complete at least 3 rounds of pickup this fall and 2 rounds later on in the spring of 2020. Of course, it's all weather dependent. You can also take your yard waste to a drop-off site, and we have a list of drop-off sites on our website and app. You also can consider keeping your leaves and using them as mulch or compost. By reducing nutrients drained into our lakes and keeping it on your property, you can actually add value and promote lawn growth and soil quality. So tons of options to choose from, and I'll send it back to you too.
All right, Keely Arthur live for us in Madison this morning. Keely, thank you very much. Well, the gap between the richest and poorest households in the U.S. is now the largest it's been in the past 50 years. Despite the median income hitting a new record in 2018, NPR reports that income inequality was significantly higher in 2018 than in 2017. The U.S. Census Bureau says last time a change was this significant was when it grew between 2012 and 2013. A professor of public policy at Rutgers University says the most troubling thing to him about this report is it shows, quote, the inability of the current economic expansion to lessen inequality. Remember, we hope to keep the conversation going about prices in Madison. News 3 Now wants to know what kind of affordability questions you have or what your family is experiencing. Just let me know by contacting me on my social media pages or through email.
All right, there is a new email scam out there that's taking advantage of families looking for a new home. It goes like this. You receive an email from what looks to be your attorney or realtor asking for money on closing costs for your new home. If you don't double check who sent you that email, though, you could be out that money. Last year, folks lost a total of $1.3 billion on the scam. The Better Business Bureau is reminding folks to always be skeptical of any email or phone call you get asking for money. Now, if you have a question about a scam like this, a suspicious business, or any consumer question or complaint, our Call for Action volunteers can help you with that. They're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 until 1. You can reach them at that number right there on your screen. That's 608-270-2833.
6:35 right now. Coming up in the morning sprint, we have the latest details on reports of shots fired from overnight.
And we are taking a look at the newest viral rap sensation. You're not going to want to miss that, folks. Keep watching News 3 Now this morning. Okay, so I had to take a moment on this Monday morning and give a shout out to my aunt and uncle, Janice and Wayne. They are in this photo, the ones in the white and black there. They celebrated 50 years of marriage this weekend back in Highland.
That is awesome. Looks like you had the whole family together to celebrate.
Oh yeah, we are so lucky to have such a big and loving family and a pretty good dancing family, if I may say so myself.
Lots of polka, you said.
Lots of polka dancing. I kid you not, my feet still hurt today.
That is intense. If you've ever done that before, that's like one of the best workouts ever.
Yep, I'm just going to say, Janice and Wayne, some of the best polka dancers I know. Congrats to them. They are truly an inspiration to the rest of us.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's so cool to see. All right, Kanye West fans are waking up disappointed this morning as he failed once again to release an album on time.
But don't worry, rap fans. Here's a new viral sensation you might want to check out.
Today, student mama know that I'm a winner. Morning eating breakfast when it's nighttime dinner.
Well, that's pretty impressive. Meet Mac Sauce. She's a 7-year-old rapper from Kansas City. A video of Mac rapping has almost a million views on Twitter. So what exactly does a 7-year-old rap about?
Movies, princesses, and that's... sometimes I just be a kid all around.
There you go. The young star has done several performances locally and is now getting a lot of national interest from major networks.
She is going to have a bright future, that's for sure.
She so deserves it. 7 years old and can rap like that. Pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, she can put a lot of people run for their money, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, well, it is a foggy morning outside, so be sure to give yourself some extra time and take things slow as you head out for your morning commute off to work or school. There's a live look right now. Traffic moving along just fine, but might cause a few issues out there. We'll have a forecast update coming up next for you.
But first, it is September 30th. We want to say happy birthday to Maddie. Look at this cutie, and to all the kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks so much for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
6:44 on your Monday morning. A foggy start to this Monday. Not too bad right here, but some areas of the metro, not much to see out there.
We've been taking a peek outside all morning, and there hasn't been much to look at. It's been dark and foggy.
Yeah, and it's going to be kind of summer-like out there today, too. Not feeling like the last day of September, Hattie.
Certainly not. Kind of a crazy weather day. Here's our view from the Edgewater Sky Cam. Not able to see the Capitol at all this morning, so be aware of the fog that has developed overnight. Dense fog advisory for south central as well as southeastern Wisconsin and parts of northern Illinois. It's in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. Visibility has been pretty steady, less than a mile for the last hour or so here in Madison. Quarter-mile visibility in Mineral Point and Janesville. We are noting some improvement in Monroe. Visibility back up to 3/4 of a mile there. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. As warm air continues to move into the area, some very light scattered showers are popping up west of Madison. Movement is to the north and east rather quickly, so you may see some light showers or sprinkles early today. As you head into the afternoon, though, the forecast looks dry. Most of the activity will stay to our north through the day today, and that's where we see widespread shower and thunderstorm activity across the UP, Lake Superior this morning. Further out to the west, though, some blue precipitation showing up on that radar map, indicating that snow is falling. A large storm system impacting Montana and Wyoming over the weekend. Take a look at the jet stream. The jet stream bisecting the country from the southwest all the way into the Great Lakes region. North of that jet, it's feeling a lot and looking like winter. South of the jet stream, though, summer conditions and near record heat expected for the southeast and mid-Atlantic regions. In between, right under this jet stream, that's where we're going to see rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Southern Wisconsin included in that activity. So alert days are in the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday. Showers and thunderstorms expected, some of which could contain some heavy rain. Be adding up that rain in inches by the end of this week. In fact, here's a look at your precipitation. By Thursday midday, a band of heavy rain setting up across the state. Now, this band may shift yet further to the south, so we'll keep an eye on those forecast models as they develop the system, but we're looking at anywhere from 1 to 3, maybe even slightly higher amounts through the week. Our temperatures, there's quite a contrast between north and south this morning. 53 in Rhinelander, 51 in Superior, 65 here in Madison. It jumps to 70 in Waterloo and 72 in Austin, Minnesota. Dew points are high as well, especially for southern Minnesota and parts of Iowa. Those dew points are close to 70 degrees this morning. Unfortunately, if you don't like the humidity, that's moving in our direction. Dew points will climb back to around 70 for a time this afternoon. It's only going to be for a day or so with this high humidity, though. Your future track forecast model, southerly winds kicking in today, really helping us warm pretty quickly. Turning partly sunny for the afternoon with high temperatures in the low 80s in many spots. Even Camp Douglas and the Dells topping near 80 degrees today. Staying dry through the evening and quite mild. After midnight, though, those showers and thunderstorms are expected to roll into the area. And then through the day on Tuesday, right into Wednesday, look for rain, possibly heavy at times. So pretty wet through the middle of the week. Our extended forecast, again, those alert days for Tuesday and Wednesday. Things drying out on Thursday, but boy, look at that cool down. We're talking highs in the 80s today, only in the 50s on Thursday and Friday. Here's a look at our Pet Walk forecast. Well, this is so appropriate for today. Stella in Belleville, she may want the water to
Who
stay
would have
cool.
thought it would still be a pool day at the end of September?
I know. Josh, your pool still open?
I believe it is. I haven't gotten the official "it is closed" email yet, so.
Stella and I are heading over.
I guess so.
All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, the morning sprint is up next on News 3 Now this morning. 6:51, time for the morning sprint as our team gives you more local news than anybody else to start your work week.
We begin in Madison this morning. That is where Chief Koval is no longer leading the Madison Police Department. His retirement announcement came yesterday on his blog. He didn't give a specific reason, but wrote that despite the trials, he, quote, wouldn't trade the experience for anything. Assistant Chief Vic Wall will serve as interim police chief until the Police and Fire Commission choose a replacement.
Mayor Softy Rhodes Conway is responding to Koval's announcement, thanking him for his dedication and service. She'll be working with the Police and Fire Commission, urging them to, quote, conduct a process in which members of the department and members of the community have significant input into Madison's next police chief. The Police and Fire Commission is also thanking Chief Koval for a, quote, successful concluding chapter to his long and distinguished professional career.
Also breaking overnight, Madison police are investigating reports of shots fired near Leopold Elementary School. Officers found more than 10 cases in the road from different caliber guns. An empty car on the street was hit multiple times, but no one was injured.
3 people were injured after being shot in Fitchburg yesterday. It happened just before noon near High Ridge Trail just off of Fish Hatchery Road. Responding officers initially found 2 people with gunshot wounds. One of those had life-threatening injuries. Later, a 3rd person went to the hospital with a gunshot wound. Police are still investigating, but say the people involved knew each other and that this was not a random shooting.
On the north side of the city, police are still looking for the person who killed a teen. The Dane County Medical Examiner says 19-year-old Malik Moss was shot around 6 p.m. Saturday night on Northport Drive, just a couple of blocks from Lindbergh Elementary School. The 16-year-old later died from his injuries.
In the township of Leeds, Columbia County deputies say the death of a man shot in his basement is a homicide. Police say Keith Wolf's wife called 911 saying her husband was checking the basement after they heard a noise there. That's when he was shot. A police K-9 unit didn't find anyone else in the area.
On this Monday morning, we're dealing with some pretty dense fog across southern Wisconsin. A dense fog advisory in effect for most of the area until 11 o'clock this morning. Visibility is less than a mile, so take it easy on the roads. Plan a little extra time to get to your destination. Doppler track showing you some widely scattered light showers that have developed. They're moving off to the northeast rather quickly, not expected to last too long this morning. For the afternoon, turning warm and very humid. High temperatures will reach 81 degrees later on today.
Leaves are still green in a lot of parts of our community, but they are starting to fall as we enter into October, and city officials know that. That is why they are beginning their fall leaf pickup today. They want to avoid scenes like this, leaves going into the gutter and then entering into our lake system, causing things like toxic algae blooms, murky water, and weeds. If you are taking advantage of curbside pickup, a few things to follow. Crews will complete at least 3 rounds in the fall and then 2 rounds in the spring, all of course weather dependent. We also have a list of drop-off sites on our website and app. You might consider using your leaves as mulch, keeping them on your property, or composting them by reducing the nutrients drained into our lakes. You can keep those nutrients and put them in your lawn or soil. Back to you, Josh.
Keely, thank you. A little bit of a different scene out west where winter came in early in the northern Rocky Mountains. A snowstorm dumped a record amount of snow over the weekend, knocking out power and causing hazardous travel conditions. Montana's governor declared a winter storm emergency. The storm also hit parts of Idaho and Washington.
Breaking news overseas, a Somali official says a military airstrip that acts as a base for U.S. and Somali forces is damaged after a suicide bomber exploded a vehicle at the gate. A security official there says a burst of gunfire was also heard, suggesting an ongoing attack. The U.S. military base uses the airstrip as a base where it launches drones. Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility.
The impeachment inquiry against President Trump is expected to pick up steam this week. Several current and former State Department officials are expected to testify before Congress, along with the whistleblower who started the whole process. A new CBS News poll shows the majority of Americans approve of the inquiry, though they're divided over whether the president should be impeached.
The Brewers get today off before heading to the nation's capital for the National League wildcard game tomorrow night. The Brewers had a chance to force a tiebreaker game for the division title yesterday, but no such luck. That means it'll be win or go home for the Crew, who are making the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row. First pitch in Washington is just after 7 tomorrow night on TBS.
A driver is in critical condition after a 2-car crash near the Capital City Trail in Fitchburg. This happened just before 5 last night. Police say they believe a driver drifted over the center line and struck an oncoming car. Both drivers were taken to area hospitals. One was released with minor injuries. The driver of the car that drifted over the center line is the one in critical condition.
One person recovering after a car crash last night. It happened around 9 along Hammersley Road in Madison near Whitney Way. That road was reopened a couple of hours later, around 11:15. One person had to be taken to the hospital. No word on the extent of their injuries.
A first alert traffic note this morning as you head out the door. The second phase of resurfacing project on Highway N between Verona and Oregon gets started today. That means N is closing down between County Highway PB and Fish Hatchery Road. That closure is expected to last until October 18th.
And with a look at the rest of your Monday morning commute, here's Jason Stone. Hey, Jason.
Hello. The westbound Beltline is congested from Stoughton Road to West Broadway. All other lanes are at the posted speed limit. No issues on John Nolan at this time. A dense fog advisory is in effect. Use headlights and leave plenty of distance ahead of you. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Yeah, you heard Jason use those headlights this morning. Here's a look from the Edgewater Skycam. Still not able to see the Capitol just yet, with that visibility less than a mile here in Madison. The fog will lift, then we turn partly sunny today, warm and very humid with high temperatures reaching 81 degrees. Could be the last 80 of the season.
Oh boy.
Take advantage. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make it a great day. Take it easy out there in that fog, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.